This is JR Gaming, and right now we'll be rebuilding the Cleveland Browns, possibly the worst franchise in the NFL right now. I mean, this roster is atrocious. No quarterback, a good O-line though. Guess you could give him credit for that. Njoku's cool and whatnot. But yeah, all these pieces, and they still suck. Of course, I had to trade Kevin Hogan and Telford for the Jets' first round pick because the Jets always want a quarterback. So this may be a bit controversial, but I will trade Duke Johnson, Josh Gordon, and a third round pick for Bobby Wagner. Yeah, we gave up on Josh Gordon. So I trade Jamie Meller and Jason McCourty for Brandon Sheriff because Brandon Sheriff is a beast. So I trade 2 second-round picks and Derrick Kindred for DeAndre Hopkins, one of the best receivers in the NFL. Definitely top 5. So I trade Rod Johnson, my 2nd and 5th round pick, for Landon Collins, because we need to get him out of New York with all the drama that's going around over there. So here's the team heading to next season, or our first season. Here's the team heading into our first season. Sean Kaiser will be starting. Corral's not bad. And now we have DeAndre Hopkins, who's an upgrade over Josh Gordon. Njoku's a beast. He has quick development. And our O-line's really good. And not only that, but we'll be moving Joel Bitonio to left tackle. Or right tackle, I mean. And now our O-line's really good. Our defense is pretty good. Our D-line's not bad. We have a couple rookies starting in Ogunjobi and Myles Garrett. Our linebacking core is pretty good with Kirksey and Jamie Collins, but now we have Bobby Wagner. And our safeties, well, one's good, one's not. And our cornerback group downgraded a lot. And let's see if I can do better than Hugh Jackson and get more than 1 win in 2 years. At the midseason mark, we are 1-7, and we have to re-sign DeAndre Hopkins, and it's worth it. And he re-signs, and then Isaiah Corral, I guess we'll re-sign him. Probably trade him later on. And that's about it. So we don't make the playoffs, which is a shame. But I have 2 wins. And that means I'm a better coach than Hugh Jackson. Kaiser, he threw for 4,000 yards, 21 TDs, and that's the same number as interceptions. Corral rushed for 900 yards, 8 TDs. Njoku had 75 catches, 800 yards. Hopkins had 1,000 yards. As for blocking, we didn't let up too much sacks, just 24 sacks. Bobby Wagner with 159 tackles. Danny Shelton and Garrett with 21 tackles for loss. And Jamie Collins with 10.5 sacks. Jamar Taylor and Landon Collins both had more than 1 interception. And no defensive touchdown. As for the awards, Drew Brees wins MVP. Brady wins Offensive Player of the Year. Myles Garrett is number 3 for Defensive Rookie of the Year. And somehow Bruce Ellington, replacing Hopkins, wins Best Wide Receiver. And I don't think we'll win any awards. So that's a shame. And now with the first pick in the NFL draft, I will just trade down. Yeah. Alright. Alright, cool. They don't take the player I want. So I'm gonna take this guy, Samuel Morgan. And he's a cornerback with superstar development. And he's from Ohio State. So that's something. So with my 6th overall pick, I chose Roy Rice. It's probably related to Ray Rice, but he's a pretty good player. He'll replace Emmanuel Ogba. And now with my 21st pick in the draft, I will be choosing a quarterback, but a guy who's projected to go in the 4th round. And he's a 74 overall with superstar development. And now with this pick, I'll just trade it away to the Cowboys. With this 4th round pick, I'll be choosing this wide receiver, and he's 72 overall. With this pick, I will be choosing a position that's very important, and that's the punter position. So I trade Deshaun Kaiser, Spencer Drango, and my 2nd round pick for Devontae Adams. So I traded Corey Coleman and Emmanuel Ogba for Alvin Kamara. So I trade Isaiah Correll, Justin Bethel, and a 3rd round pick for Kenny Clark. So I trade Danny Shelton and Joe Schobert for AJ Boye. So I trade Jamar Taylor, Caleb Brantley, and a 4th round pick for the Bears' 1st round pick this year and next year. So here's your team heading into next season. We have a new rookie quarterback who's pretty good. Alvin Kamara is a beast at running back. Our receiving core is better with Devontae Adams in the mix. Our O-line's still really good. As for our defense, our D-line is improved with Kenny Clark. Our linebacking core is really good. And our secondary is improved with AJ Boye, but we could probably replace Peppers in the next offseason. So at the midseason mark, we are 4-3. And we had to re-sign the first offensive lineman in the NFL. And Joe Thomas re-signs. And now Landon Collins. And he resigns as well. And last but not least, Brandon Sheriff. And he resigns. And that's about it. So we don't make the playoffs, but we went 8-8. And Matt Wong threw for 4,000 yards, 33 TDs, and 11 interceptions. Kamara rushed for 1,500 yards and 7 TDs. Hopkins had 1,200 yards. Adams with 900. Divins with 800. Njoku with 600. And our team only let up 16 sacks. Bobby Wagner led the team with 105 tackles. Garrett with 17 tackles for loss, and Garrett had 12.5 QB sacks. And AJ Boye had 3 interceptions, which led the team. And we had no defensive touchdowns. As for awards, Big Ben wins MVP. So our quarterback doesn't win Rookie of the Year, but it's fine. Because at least he tries. So I signed Brandon Cooks, and now this receiving core is stacked. 296 plus receivers. With my 5th overall pick, I'm gonna trade down with the team that gives me some good value, and that's the Bengals. With my 17th overall pick, I'll choose this cornerback with the last name Garrett, which is the same as Myles Garrett, and he has quick development, which is really good. And now for my 20th overall pick, I will choose a strong safety. Now, I'll get him later. Right now, I'll be getting this wide receiver. and he's really good as well. And now with this pick, I'll get a safety that I kind of want. And that's KJ Cujo. And he has superstar development, which is pretty nice. And now I'll just be trading down the rest of my picks. So since I drafted a receiver who's pretty good, I traded Devontae Adams, Jabril Peppers, and my second round pick for Leonard Williams, who will be playing defensive tackle. So I traded this rookie right tackle that I drafted and a third round pick for CJ Mosley. So I trade Jamie Collins Sr., my fourth round pick, for Harrison Smith, one of the best safeties in the league right now. So this is a season heading to next season. The receiving core is one of the best in the leagues. We have two 96 plus receivers and 85 overall tight end. Our rookie quarterback's going to be very happy, and he has Alvin Kamara who could catch as well. And the O-line is really good. And the D-line, there's 3 A's on the D-line, and Rice is just a rookie or second year player, but he can still develop. The linebacking core, there's 2 90 plus linebackers. And as for the secondary, there's 3 A's. And we have Morgan, who's a second year player, who's playing pretty good. Now it's time to go to the midseason. At the midseason mark, we are 7-0. I mean, the last season we were like the opposite of that. Bobby Wagner is gonna resign. AJ Boye, not 100% sure if I want him. Kenny Clark, he will sign. And I guess I'll get AJ Boye. If he accepts this lowball contract, and he doesn't, so I'll probably just franchise tag him later on. But somehow we're 7-0. So somehow we have a first round bye, and we went 14-2. So Matt Wong threw for 47 TDs and 14 interceptions. Kamara ran for almost 1,600 yards, 10 TDs. Hopkins and Allison both had 1,000 yards. David Njoku with 800 yards. And we let up only 11 sacks. Bobby Wagner with over 100 tackles. Myles Garrett with 15 tackles for loss. And Myles Garrett led the team with 19 sacks. And I guess I'm running a 3-4, so Mosley has 12.5 sacks. Bobby Wagner with 6 interceptions. Harrison Smith with 4. Bunch of players with 3 and 2. And Harrison Smith and Samuel Morgan both had a defensive touchdown. As for the awards, Matt Wong won MVP, and I won Coach of the Year. That's pretty amazing. And somehow Matt Wong didn't win Offensive Player of the Year. Bobby Wagner won Defensive Player of the Year. Matt Wong won Best QB. Joe Thomas wins Best Offensive Lineman. And look at this. We have four of our guys in the top 4. And then JC Tretter's in the bottom because he's not that good. Myles Garrett's number 2 in Best D-Line. Bobby Wagner's number 3 for Best Linebacker. And we have Harrison Smith in the top 10 for Best DB. The only award we're not on is probably Best Kicker, which is a shame. So here's a fully upgraded team. Wong is at an 87 overall. My receiving core is 90 plus. Njoku's an 89. My offensive linemen's all pretty good. Myles Garrett's a 94. And since we're running a 4-3, I might have to change the scheme, because I think the team is best suited for a 4-3. I'll just change it to, I guess, Dallas. So now it's time to head to the divisional matchup, and we will be facing the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're probably not happy that we took AJ Boy, and since we took AJ Boy, they defeated us, and that's pretty much a shame. But we'll come back next year, better and stronger than ever. So I will be re-signing AJ Boy if he accepts his contract, and he doesn't, so I'm gonna franchise tag him. That's what he gets for not wanting to re-sign with us. So I trade a backup guard and a next year 3rd round pick for Travis Frederick. With my 3rd overall pick, I'll just trade it away to the Rams. And with this pick, I haven't really scouted, so I'll just get a random tight end. This guy seems pretty good, and he is. And now with this pick, I'll just get a cornerback. And this dude has superstar development, which is really good. And this pick is getting traded away to the Vikings. And now I'm just gonna sim the rest of the draft. So I trade AJ Boye and a 1st round pick for Luke Kuechly. So I trade Christian Kirksey, a 1st and 2nd round pick for Marshawn Lattimore. This is the team heading into next season. Our quarterback is an 86 overall. Kamara is still really good. Our receiving core is one of the best. Our O-line is still really good. There's A's everywhere, except the fullback and QB position. And on defense, same thing. There's A's almost everywhere except the left end, and the linebacker spot kind of doesn't count because they count the backup. And I run a 4-3, so the backup doesn't really count. So yeah. So I make it to the playoffs again, and I went 14-1-1. So I did better than last season. Matt Wong threw for 4,400 yards, 40 TDs, and 8 interceptions. Kamara with almost 1,500 yards and 16 TDs. This guy with 14 TDs. Cooks had 700 yards. Hopkins and Allison both with over 1,000 yards, and both of them had 10 TDs. And Njoku had 800 yards. As for blocking, we only let up 4 sacks. Bobby Wagner and Kuechly both had 115 tackles. Clark and Williams both had a lot of tackles for loss. Garrett with 9.5 QB sacks. Lattimore with 7 interceptions. Kuechly with 4. And no defensive touchdowns. As for the awards, Prescott wins MVP. Matt Wong's number 2. Garrett wins Coach of the Year, even though I had a better record than him. So we don't win any Rookie of the Year awards. Wong won Best QB. Kamara's number 3 for Best Running Back. Hopkins number 3 for Best Wide Receiver. And our whole O-line is right here for the Best Offensive Lineman award. The whole O-line, I never seen that before. It's pretty amazing. As for the D-line, no one's here, or Myles Garrett is here at number 10. Kuechly's there, number 10. Lattimore's the best DB. And Zane Gonzalez finally won an award. Good for him. So here's the team heading to the playoffs. And basically everyone's a 90 plus except for the fullback. And on defense, it's kind of pretty much the same thing. 90 plus is everywhere except left end. So our opponent will be the Tennessee Titans, who went 8-8. There's no way they could beat us. And they don't. And now we're facing the 10-6 Chargers. And hopefully we win, and we won. So now it's time for the Super Bowl against the Cowboys, who have Dak Prescott. And for this, we're gonna jump into the game. And my team's 4 overalls better, so we should win about 8 times out of 10. So right now the Cowboys scored, we scored. Second quarter, we scored again. It's looking pretty good. So far we're winning. And the Cowboys score. Oh no. And they score again. And then we fire back. Wow, I think we might lose this. And we lose the game, so yeah. At least I brought the Browns to the Super Bowl, which has never been done before. And it sucks that they lose to the Cowboys. So the bad thing is I have so much players to resign and I don't have enough cap space. So I will bring back Myles Garrett. And he will return. And I'll bring back Marshawn Lattimore. And he returns. And maybe somehow I could bring Kamara back. And I franchise tagged him. So we just need Njoku back. So it kind of sucks we can't get Njoku back because I have no cap space. So I trade Harrison Smith, my 1st and 4th round pick, for Hunter Henry. So I trade Kevin Zeitler, Garrett, whatever, and my 2nd round pick for Jamal Adams. So I trade my strong safety, middle linebacker, and a 2nd round pick next year for Ryan Ramczyk. So I trade my 1st round and 3rd round pick next year for Forrest Lamp. So here's the team heading to next season. I now have Ryan Ramczyk. My whole line has A+, or A's everywhere. In fact, my whole offense has A's everywhere. Receivers are all 90+. Hunter Henry's an upgrade over Njoku. Wong is a 90 overall. As for the defense, everything's good except free safety, which I'll put Landon Collins over there. I just need to change him real quick. And boom. I have 90 pluses everywhere except my left end position and middle linebacker, but I run it 4-3, so it doesn't really matter. And yeah, my kicker and punter aren't that good. Maybe that's why I've been losing games, because I don't have a guy to kick the ball. That explains so much. So I make the playoffs again, and I get a 1st round bye again. Went 14-2. Matt Wong threw for 4,000 yards, 35 TDs. Kamara ran for 1,600 yards, 8 TDs. This guy had 16 TDs. No receiver over 1,000 yards. And we let up just about 10 sacks. Kuechly with 109 tackles. Clark with 18 tackles for loss, and Clark led the team with 15 sacks. Garrett with 12.5. Jamal Adams, Wagner, and Morgan all had 4 interceptions. And Lattimore had a defensive touchdown. As for the awards, I didn't win Coach of the Year, even though I had the best record in the NFL. Now I know how Bill Belichick feels. Clark is here, Kuechly is here for Defensive Player of the Year. Wong is the second best QB in the league. Kamara is the third best running back. The whole O-line is here again. I didn't think my O-line was that good, but guess here it is. Clark is the second best D lineman. Jamal Adams is here as well as Morgan. And then for the kicker, Gonzalez is on the list. So not bad. So I accidentally simmed to the Super Bowl and we made it. And I kind of need to see what happened. So we didn't play the wild card, but we beat the Bills by 3 points. Then we just whooped the Titans, and now we're facing the Eagles. And this seems like a dream scenario. Eagles versus Browns. I bet we'll never see this again. Okay, in the Super Bowl, we strike first, and we score again. And so far, I think we scored a safety. And now the Eagles finally scored, second half. And we're just running away with the lead. And it became nighttime for a second. And we're just whipping the Eagles in the Super Bowl. And that's it. We won the Super Bowl. Something the Browns would never do in real life. This is the first time you'll see this. Wong had 200 yards, 3 TDs, 2 interceptions. Wentz had 4 interceptions. Typical Wentz. Kamara with 3 TDs, 120 yards. Hopkins and Cooks both over 70 yards. Henry caught a touchdown. Has 4 sacks. We didn't let up any. Gary and Williams both had sacks. Lattimore had 2 picks. Dang. And Clark had a fumble recovery. All in all, it was a pretty good game. Well, finally did it.